Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to Thursday on the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. I'm Jason DeRusha. Glad to have you with us. Hope you're in a good mood. The weather is sort of turning around, right? It's a little warmer than it was, and today we will be above zero all day long. Woo! Get excited. The flurries, though, have been hanging around, right? They'll be here until around noon. It's snowing outside right now, 7 degrees, which feels pretty good. Just wanted to give you a look at the satellite radar. It's this sort of weird kind of splotchy stuff, and it is making the drive sort of a mess. So just be aware of that. A little bit of snow still out there this morning, but we're on a warming trend, and this weekend we're going to get up to, wait for it, average. Woo! It's going to be average. Get excited. It'll feel good. 30-something. Thank you. Bring it on for sure. Oh, very important. Text updates coming in as it happens. That's what the morning update's all about. As news comes in, like this news story that we focused on this morning. If you watch the WCCO This Morning show, every morning at about 6:15 or so, 6:10, I do a morning headlines segment. And this one kind of jumped out at us. Nancy Noe in the Pioneer Press wrote about date night. I think date night is so important, even if it's a friend's date. If you're a parent, it's so important to connect with your spouse. And she wrote about like some fancy takeout, different coursed meals. I think that's fun, right? And it's not all super fancy, I guess. Tongue-in-cheek. Pajarito has a cool taco platter they talked about. There's a Japanese place, Mizu, in White Bear Lake. Tongue-in-cheek. Aqua in White Bear Lake also has like a 3-course. So anyway, there are all these takeout tasting menus, 3 courses, if you will. It just got us thinking about takeout spots during pandemic. So many of you have been getting takeout, partially to support the restaurants, but partially because how many dishes can we do? Like, seriously, all I do is run the dishwasher at my house. So let us know what your favorite takeout spot has been during the pandemic. What's kind of your go-to takeout food? Leave a comment on the WCCO Facebook page. We'll share some in a minute. We update you on our top stories, and we are watching the plan that city leaders and state leaders announced to protect the Twin Cities during the upcoming trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin. An amazing show of law enforcement strength. More than 3,000 troops and law enforcement officers will be out in the streets during the trial. 2,000 National Guard troops, 1,100 law enforcement officers. They won't all be out at the same time, but they'll be on call, ready to go. They'll be protecting the buildings, of course, but also protecting the right of people to peacefully protest. If you want to protest and gather during the trial, you should. They're also going to work with community anti-violence groups, trying to avoid kind of rumors and misinformation. Lisa Clements, who you just saw there, and her team, A Mother's Love, tried to keep the peace during the initial unrest in late May and early June. And then remember in August, when people thought an officer shot someone on Nicollet Mall, it turned out to be a suicide. A Mother's Love, again, being called on to help.
My priority is to keep people safe, to try to make sure that businesses are not harmed, but more to keep people safe and to make sure that there's no misinformation being spread in our community that could cause us to be hurt.
So response teams will monitor threats online and in person. City's got a command center similar to the one they built for security during the Super Bowl. Just like to say, like, we hope everything's going to be fine. Like, there's no reason to think there's going to be violence. We know there will be protest, but we expect the best out of people and expect for peaceful protest. Passionate, sure, but no reason to be destroying or damaging buildings. Weapons could soon be banned from protests and gatherings in St. Paul. The City Council considering making it illegal to carry guns or knives or anything that could cause harm during a protest, during a parade, or other public assemblies. This will be interesting from a legal standpoint, right? They brought this up during yesterday's meeting, but the council says police and the city attorney's office, they want to make some adjustments to this before it's discussed again. Some First Amendment issues there for sure. Second Amendment as well. Today, the Senate in Minnesota is going to talk about giving schools the power to decide when to reopen. Republicans have been saying that the school boards should decide the local school boards, not the governor setting standards. There's been kind of an ongoing debate as to who should have the power. The governor, for his part, announced yesterday that he's ready for kids to go back to school. The older kids, already younger students, are largely back in school. His new policy really focuses on testing teachers and monitoring COVID spread in teachers. And he says, look, March 8th, everybody should have in-person learning. Now, that doesn't mean 100% in person. It could be hybrid. And a lot of schools already moving in this direction. So for many of you parents, you might be saying, like, what's the difference? This does matter in Minneapolis and St. Paul especially, which have been all distance learning. But the governor said, look, we've got low positivity rates and we're making real progress with COVID-19 vaccinations.
And when we're seeing progress, it's time to move. Well, we're on offense now, and it's our time to take back the things that make life so wonderful for us.
Schools are still expected to follow COVID precautions, like wearing masks and social distancing. Governor Walz says he does expect every Minnesota teacher to have at least one dose of the vaccine by March 8th, which is amazing, isn't it? So that's 2 weeks and a couple of days. So pretty soon. Good news for teachers. Let's get them those vaccines. More than 100 million people across the U.S. are under a winter weather warning or watch or advisory. Another storm front on the way in. This is just brutal for people in Texas, especially. At least 24 people have already died in the extreme weather this week. And boy, Texas, millions still without power. For many, it means no heat inside their home. You know, these homes aren't built with the sort of insulation that we have, the windows we have. And look at all of the water damages. So many pipes burst, so much flooding, and then that floodwater freezing. Texas governor calling in help from out-of-state plumbing companies.
This is no longer just an emergency. It's clear that it is a disaster. Residents are frustrated, they're angry, they are cold. What they're enduring and continue to endure is heartbreaking and it's frustrating.
Texas officials say it could still be several more days before the power is restored to everybody. You may have heard this, and it's not true. Not many, but some conservative politicians have been trying to blame renewable energy. Oh, the reason Texas has all these blackouts is because they went off the grid and they're just using wind energy and the cold caused the wind turbines to freeze. Always check that sort of stuff out. Minnesota energy leaders are saying, look, it's just not true. I mean, yes, there are problems with the wind turbines freezing in Texas. But there are problems with coal plants and nuclear plants, and everything is a mess there right now. And Texas is its own independent energy operation. They're not linked in with the rest of the country. Here in Minnesota, we have, heating packs on our wind turbines. The natural gas pipes are indoors or insulated. And we're also connected to other states. So if we had a problem here, we could bring in power from somewhere else in our region. The experts say, look, Texas is having problems with all of the energy sources.
Renewables have nothing to do with this. Coal plants have frozen up. Nuclear facilities are not operating in Texas, or some of them aren't operating. Natural gas plants are not operating in Texas.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott is calling for an investigation. Look, just saying that it's not renewable energy's fault doesn't say this isn't someone's fault. Texas made a choice, and they have an agency that runs their state power grid, and there will be an investigation and questions about that. Birch Steak in Minneapolis is closing for good. Birch is one of the restaurants owned by Isaac Becker, a James Beard Award-winning chef. It was a 4-star restaurant from the Star Tribune. I profiled Chef Danny Del Prado years ago and Isaac Becker and his wife Nancy in a story for DeRusha Eats. Danny Del Prado now owns Colita and Martina and Rosalia. Birch sent an email to employees, now former employees, that said the pandemic made it impossible for them to reopen. Hard to know exactly what that means, right? Was the chef looking in the future and saying fine dining really isn't going to work? Birch was a very big restaurant, very lively, very loud, pizza place in the basement, great spot, but closing. We have a full list of restaurants that have closed since the start of the pandemic on our website. A Minnesota shelter is stepping in to save some pups from that winter weather down south that we talked about. More than 70 dogs and one cat. What's the deal with the cat? They arrived in St. Louis Park at Underdog Rescue last night. They came from a southern Texas shelter that was overcrowded, didn't have heat. The word went out, and Minnesotans responded. The shelter's pipes froze, leaving those animals without running water. Our volunteers from here drove 1,300 miles to go get those animals.
We drove down there. Our volunteers saw firsthand the effects that the cold weather is having in Texas. And the shelter, much like most of the state, they're just not set up for cold weather. They're just not equipped for it.
The animals will stay with foster families until they are ready to be adopted. Check out the newest police canine cadets in the Twin Cities. We just want you to look at your screen and go, aww. Minneapolis Police Canine Foundation shared these pictures on Facebook. 2 new puppies are 7 years old. The Canine Foundation is completely making up that these puppies are excited about their careers one day in law enforcement. They got a little bit of growing to do, don't they? What is that? That puppy's head in a big bag of dog food? All right, that dog's got what it takes. Little bit, kind of a nose for investigating. I like it. Let's get back to our talker. I mean, that dog was doing takeout. Where are you doing takeout? Your favorite spots? Joanne says Carmelo's Italian restaurant in St. Paul. Small husband and wife operation, delicious, authentic family recipes. Very good. Joanne, great tip. Thank you for that. I've never been to Carmelo's. Oh, Maggie with this is a holy trinity right here of St. Paul. Casetas, Carbonis, and Pad Thai. I was just over by Pad Thai yesterday. I was at Shish on Grand Avenue. Very nice. Michelle Miller, Huddy's Cafe in Champlin. It's giving them great comfort food when Michelle goes on cooking strike. I like that, Michelle. Megan, DQ, baby. Oh, you're pregnant. The ranch does it for you. Megan, congratulations on your pregnancy. Good luck. As soon as you have that baby, you will join the ranks of 4:30 a.m. viewers on WCCO this morning. We love our pregnant moms and dads who are up early with us and with their babies. Theory says Tinto Kitchen. Tinto's great, right on that corner with Broders, 50th and Penn in South Minneapolis. Heather Westby. Oh, you know what, Heather? I've heard of this restaurant, Fiesta Brava in Fergus Falls. Authentic, super delicious Mexican. Fergus, a great town. Oh, Bradley picks a real nice one, not far from where I live. Olympia Cafe in Euros. Olympia, they make all their own hummus. A great little Greek restaurant right on the very cute downtown kind of Main Street in Osseo. David says Adventures in Siren, Wisconsin. Siren's a great town too. Thanks, David. Chapala in Cambridge. Really good Mexican food. Thanks, James, for that tip. We have a lot of great Mexican food all throughout the Twin Cities now. Joseph says Tailgate Sports Bar in Minneapolis. Best wings ever. Nice. Thanks, Joe. Molly, gluten-free pizza at Mario's in Watertown, Minnesota. Gluten-free pizza's gotten so much better. Amanda says we've been trying a lot of new places in Coon Rapids. Kendall's, yeah, Kendall's just opened up. I've heard really good things about that. Curbside pickup on Fridays. That's a nice tradition. Pick a day of the week and do curbside. Thank you. T-Box, yes, T-Box is great in Ham Lake. T-Box is kind of a secret, excellent restaurant in Ham Lake. Haven't had a date night in October. Might need some takeout this weekend. You deserve it, Becca. Date night has to happen. Got to keep the love alive. Listen to Dr. Love here. The Grumpy Minnow in Stanfield. Dairy and gluten-free. They make it happen for you, Joanne. That's awesome. Thank you. How many more of these do we got? Soul Food? Oh, this is from Amber, our producer. So see, this is, I'm like, we're showing a lot of comments, but it was really so Amber could get to her own comment. I respect that. I really do. If you have to produce the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update, I mean, at least you can get your own comments on the air. I got to check out Soul Food. That's a good tip, Amber. Thank you. It's in the North Loop Galley. Thanks for watching, everybody. Love the comments about takeout stuff, too. I'm going to go read all of them on the WCCO TV Facebook page. And